familiar with A Course in Miracles?
No, but you know what? I was just reading one of your posts on your Facebook page about that. I didn't finish the whole post, but I was very interested in the fact that it's a non-dualistic view of Jesus.
You look. The thing that I fell in love with y'all about was the writings that you were making. The information that you were putting out was absolutely friggin' rock solid. I love it. Right? I just love it. And to see all smiling faces walking down the road, spouting such great, loving things and talking about your background, I couldn't believe you didn't have millions of followers. I was like, what the frick is going on here? Right. Um, and I tell you, I still don't quite get it. I'm telling you, I'm just blown away, if I'm honest with you, why y'all don't have tens of millions of followers. Y'all are absolutely, your message is good. Okay. You're good people and you're doing, I mean, what's better to love than to freaking push a damn cart down the road, right? And talk about loving people with a puppy dog on board. That's pretty damn good, right? So, but but so then to hear that, to hear everything you say line up, both like, so Torin, when I hear your story about your struggles and I start reading your words, you talk about how you were in corporate world and you were lost and you were having trouble with purpose and all those kinds of things. And I just, after it was over, I just assumed that you were a student of A Course in Miracles. I just assumed that you were. Okay. um but basically, a course in miracles, and I'm holding it up like you can see it. Anyway, a course in miracles it's a non-dualistic approach, and it goes along with my worldview, that it's possible that Jesus could have been an enlightened human that's doing much like what I think you're doing, right? That's living on a prayer, right? You're out there on the edge, you and Paige and Jack, and I think it's that's exactly, you are being so Jesus like. It just blows my mind, right? And
I
it's,
don't know if I'm quite there.
but okay, so let's think about it just for a second. Okay, let's just for a second think about what, the thing. I think the thing that you're missing is your disciples. That you just need to be added more to the fold, and people are, one, that's not what you want, right? You don't want a bunch of folks tagging along, okay, because that's not really part of your mission. But the thing that's neat though is your mission of working on yourself, right? An inward focus instead of an outward hate. If you inwardly love yourself, and you'll begin to inwardly love others instead of kind of the opposite. And look, I've seen you guys get some backlash over some things that you've written, right? I've seen it, I've watched it, I've looked at it, and I've like, ooh, that's a gut punch, right? I've thought about it. I've seen the loving way you've responded to it also, but it is wild. So what can you tell me, what is it that you study? What guides your thought process? Because I really think it's really, really good.
We study all religions,
Okay.
all of the foundational texts for all religions and the surrounding historical context. Did you ever get a chance to check out the Something Greater series?
Yes, I did. I don't remember specifics about it. Okay. But I know that I watched some of those. Tell me specifically what you're talking about.
Well, I think I can give you a pretty brief synopsis of why you probably see this view that you have of Jesus marrying well with what we're doing. Because I would agree with regard to your statement about Jesus being an enlightened individual, someone who saw through the veil of self and began to prioritize love and non-judgment over everything else. And his inspiration for that, I mean, if depending on what portion of the Bible is to be believed, he went out in the wilderness and he deconditioned and he socially isolated for a very long time. I don't know if he actually fasted for 40 days. That'd be like right on the limit of what a human is capable of. But thinking about Jesus as a historical figure, that leads to revolutionary insights because fasting and social isolation, those things do something very similar to what meditation does, and it downregulates the default mode network of the brain, which is this chattering system of interconnected portions of the brain which form our sense of self. It's responsible for our self-referential thinking, our thinking about the future and thinking about the past, and this seems to be the foundation of nearly every religion. Um, I don't know how deep you want to go into it.
I love your thoughts and I agree with them 100%, right? I am a non-religious person. I'm a spiritual person. I almost think that for me, trying to identify them as almost opposites of one another. Spirituality for me is extremely personal, extremely personal. And religion is a framework that people try to put around spirituality so that you have a common agreement about what is right and what is wrong and those kinds of things. And I think almost in every situation, every human being adjusts a little bit of their spirituality to conform into something that they're comfortable with as far as a religion goes. And I'm cool with that. I think that's fine. I have no issue with that. But I do recognize that at the heart of it, we are all so individual with our spirituality that we could never really, really point to someone else as if they're wrong in what they believe or how they feel or how they think, because it's so individual for them. Tell me about we talked a little bit about it. Tell me about a time in your childhood that formed you or shaped you, each of you. Do y'all remember a time in your childhood that adjusted the way you thought about the world?
Are we being recorded at the moment?
We are.
Okay. And here I've already gotten into the weeds about the spiritual stuff. Maybe just before I say that, I could add a little bit of context to my statement about Jesus and that. So when you were talking about A Course in Miracles, the little bit that I was reading about it being a non-dual philosophy, um, this is something I think that emerges in the dissolution of self. I think that duality itself is conceptual rather than it is actually a reflection of the reality of our material world. And that's true really even on like a quantum level. We're just seated inside of this giant quantum soup, but we perceive everything as black and white, good and bad, um, self, not self. And there are spaces within our consciousness that we can experience if we subject ourselves to the right things that will reveal a deeper truth to reality. And the different religious figures that have gone through the practices that will result in the dissolution of self have actually, they're the founding fathers, you might say, of all of our core religions, where people who've not gone through those experiences then go on to extrapolate what that means, and they form dogma out of it and doctrine, and it becomes more legislative and legalistic and rigid, when it all started from, like, if you look at Buddha, he did the same thing. He was an ascetic monk, basically, who wandered, and he would only eat the things that people had given to him, and he became absolutely emaciated. It was said at one point in time that you could see his spine through his belly. So the story goes. And it wasn't until he ate a bowl of some kind of like milky rice, or I don't remember exactly, under the Bodhi tree that he achieved enlightenment. And it was because he experienced this dissolution of ego dissolution. I mean, is the more secular term. And the same is true of the founding father of Taoism. Lao Tzu is said to have gone out and socially isolated in the wilderness and just come to know reality through nature itself. And In Hinduism, there are different figures like Dattatreya who did the same thing. Now, they've all kind of become mythologized over the years, but that's always where it starts. Stepping away from the stories that we tell ourselves and the world that we buy into. And then when we get away from it all, everything starts to look a little bit different.
I love it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love it. I get it. I totally get exactly what you're saying. I love every minute of it. You're I don't know. What do you say when somebody's correct? You just go, okay, you're right. Yep, teach me some more. Yeah. So yeah.
I don't know. You know, it's interesting because a lot of people are steeped in the traditions that we're surrounded by. So um, normally people don't grab hold of it very quickly. It's it's interesting. It would be cool, like if it were just more common knowledge, the the difference behind things, the different religions out there. I think that how many of us educate ourselves on? I mean, it is a lot to educate yourself on. It takes a lot of digging just to find like these commonalities.
It would be interesting to have it more normalized, though, just like the basics, the foundations, the core figures, just for everyone to know a little bit about them.
Mm-hmm. But if the deep dive is in the something greater series, that really goes into it, and I get more into like the way that our sense of self is constructed and um, the actual evidence in these different religious texts that show this is what was going on. It's but it is kind of a thing to make your way through. It's pretty dense.
Well, I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for sharing with me. I appreciate it. I would if you'll give me your address after this, I'm going to send you a few books, okay, that are my favorites that you can read or not read or do whatever you want to do with. But they're things that help frame my world. I became disillusioned with a lot of the things that were in the Bible and the things that were very confusing to me, and the way that the people were using the words in the Bible as it was just tough for me. And so I prayed for something. I looked for something that was different, and I went through a lot of the religions of the world, and I read and I researched and I looked and I found A Course in Miracles, and that is mine. It's maybe not yours, but I will tell you that having a framework to put the thoughts around and having a book to look at and essays to read, much like the essays that you write. Well, a guy that is as intellectually brilliant as you in your writing, when you read a course in one of the essays from A Course in Miracles, you will love it. You will be like, I get it, I get it. I really think you will.
I was interested the moment that I started reading the essay that you had written on your page. I didn't have any time. I think I was like sitting on the toilet or something. I didn't have any real time to read it, but I was like, wait a minute. This is not what I was expecting from this guy who's going to be interviewing us. This is pretty interesting. And it sounds a lot like what I've just in the little bit that I got to skim, what I've come to understand about Jesus. By chance, does it reference or have you read something like the Gospel of Thomas or the Gospel of Mary?
Yes, I'm very familiar with those.
What are your feelings on them?
Oh, I love them. So the Gospel of Thomas, well, both of them are really neat. Okay, if you look at them from what they are, okay. Um, I'm a huge fan of them. I've got the other Gospels sitting over here somewhere. I've got a lot of those materials. Um, yeah, yeah. So I'm familiar with that stuff. Absolutely.
Very cool. Yeah, they're. I mean, regardless of how far back we can actually date them, regardless of how factual they are historically, um, I think it's like you were saying earlier. There are statements which are true that seem to kind of like span beyond all the other boundaries. Like they're just true, kind of regardless of what the what the word
context, the person that said it. Like,
yeah, regardless of the context or the person that said it, like if somebody made up the whole Gospel of Mary, there's still very useful information in there.
Correct.
Or yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm going to send you 3 books. Okay. One is called The Disappearance of the Universe. It's kind of like a novel. All right. But it's really got an interesting kind of thing. And then the second one I'm going to send you is called Jesus, My Autobiography. And it's some channeled work. But imagine if Jesus was going to write his autobiography. And then the third one I'm going to send you is A Course in Miracles. All right. And do whatever you want to do with them. You know, I mean, you can burn them in effigy if you want. That's fine with me. Okay. But I don't think you will. I think you'll find them to be beneficial. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to go on that Marshall in the Middle Facebook and read some of the stuff. I have a lot of essays that I've written. I would love for you guys to read, Your World, My World, Our World essay that I've written. It's very, very similar to your worldview. I really think that there's a lot of synergy mentally and intellectually and philosophy about what you guys are doing and what I'm trying to do. So I want to be a fan, right? If I could be a fan and like pick your brain constantly, and maybe we could put out some videos every once in a while and help you grow your channel. And not that I got anything, I don't have some big channel either, but it's fun, right? and y'all aren't doing nothing else but just walking up and down the street. You got nothing to freaking do.
So we'd definitely be happy to.
Yeah.
We're actually talking to ourselves. I don't know how far it would be out of our way, but
we didn't announce
I guess we have
actual thing yet.
That's true.
So I don't know if you want to do that on video or wait till we're done recording.
So because Jack's getting older and he's like very high spirited, he will overwork himself quickly, and then he's like not able to stand up the next day. This has happened a couple of times now, and we just don't think that most of the time he's all right. Some days it's better than other days, but I don't think that he's in the shape to like surf all day anymore. And that's what he'll do. He wants to stand up all the time, and he'll work himself out. He's not really able to stand upright on slick floors even anymore. So many other people have dogs that we think, between all the variables and not knowing what we're walking into, we need to put the walk on pause for just a little bit. But we've decided that we're going to spend maybe something like between 1 and 2 months going to visit all of the best friends that we've made on the journey. So we're going to be going over to Kansas first to meet back up with the first friend that we ever made on the walk. And then we'll go back down south through Arkansas and Louisiana, over into Alabama and Florida, possibly all the way to Georgia, maybe. And then from there, ride all the way up to Wisconsin and basically hit all of the major places that we hit between segment 2 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 5.
Anyway, the reason that I'm saying that to you is because you'd probably not be very far from us. We're going to be visiting some people there in Alabama, so I don't imagine you'll be too far away.
Well,
if you would want to,
closer to our friends in Florida, I think it'll be really close.
Yeah. If you would want to meet up in person.
Yes, sign me up. We'll have a big party. It'll be a blast, right? So, you'll be coming into our neck of the woods, and we'll have a great time. So I can't wait. Let me know what the dates are, and we'll get something big scheduled. I got church groups and people that would love to have you speak and love to meet you and all those kinds of things. So all that kind of good stuff. So, yay! I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So when is that going to happen, you think? Over the next couple months?
Yeah, we're leaving
not
Saturday.
Not this Saturday, but yeah, about a week from now.
Yeah, we're leaving in a week, essentially.
Let me know.
It'll take us a while. Huh?
let me know when you're heading towards Alabama, whatever dates you got coming to Florida. Cause I'm just North Florida is all I am, North Florida, right there at the edge of Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, right at the corner is where we are in Dothan, Alabama. So you made a little loop around us. You went all the way around us. I was like looking at you with my binoculars. I couldn't catch up with you though.
How much time do you need for notice?
Oh, not much. Just let me know. We'll do it. We'll figure it out. I'm an old retired guy, man. I don't got nothing to do no more. I just,
Well, sounds good.
I hang out with my dad and my mom are both still alive. All my kids are graduated college and married off and doing all kinds of great things on their own. So I'm very proud of them. And I'm just, doting on grandkids and making videos and flying my drones and talking about spirituality with people. I believe that we're all connected, that we're all just different iterations of our own selves. And I love you. And I'm proud for what you stand for and what you're doing. And you're one of my heroes. So thank you for what you do. And Torin and Paige Rouse, my heroes. Yay! Thanks for everything. And we'll be talking to you later, okay?
We love you too. We'll talk to you later.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Will. Thank you for having us on.
Yes.
Oh, it's a blast. All right. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.